Hey there, fellow coders. Welcome back to the channel. I know what you're gonna say. It's been a while since I last uploaded a video, but today we're back with a classic game that never gets old. That's right, we're diving into the world of rock, paper, scissors using the power of Python. So no matter how good your coding skills are, this tutorial has got you covered. So sit back, relax, and get ready to code. As you can see, the user will be prompted to input their choice of rock, paper, or scissors. Once they do so, the computer will also choose between rock, paper, or scissors. Then the user will get a message of the result of the game, whether they win, they lost, or they tied. The nice thing about this particular program is that you can play it as many times as you want without having to run and rerun the program over again. And the computer's decision is randomized, meaning you will get a different result every time. So grab your keyboards and let's get ready to dive right in. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to do is make the game loop and handle the user input. So let's start by making a while loop, while true. This will be our game loop, and in here we'll start by printing a lot of dashes followed by /n so that it goes to the next line. The reason for this is this game loop is going to run every single time we want to play rock, paper, scissors after every round, so we just want to separate the rounds with all these dashes. Next, we're going to prompt the user to input either rock, paper, scissors, so choose either rock, paper, or scissors, and then we'll say Q to quit. Then, if the user chooses Q, we will break out of this loop. Now we need to make a variable, well, a list that has all of our options. So we'll say options is equal to a list of all the options, so rock, paper, and scissors. So now we're going to assume that the user chooses one of those options. However, if they don't, we can check for that as well. So we'll do if not user in options. This means is if the user's choice is not in options, meaning it's not one of the options, then what we will do is we will print invalid input. And we don't want this to crash the program, so what we'll do is we'll have another little while loop in here, and all this will do is repeat until we get a valid user input. So I'm actually just going to copy paste this line right here, and then I'll say if the user input is in options, what we can do is we can break out of this tiny while loop, and if it's not, we can just copy this line and print invalid input. So now we can test this, choose either rock, paper, or scissors. So if we choose, say, something that's obviously not a choice, it'll say invalid input, and then it'll give us the choice again, and we can keep going until we get a valid one, and once we do, it'll go to the next line, and then what we could be able to do is if we choose Q, it'll just break out of the loop and end. Alright, now let's work on the computer input and the computer choices. So in order to do this, we are going to be needing the random module. So all we have to do to import this is type import random, and it is pre-installed, so you don't have to install anything. So now what we can do is we can make a variable called computer and set it equal to random.choice options. So what this will do is it'll choose randomly between each item in the list in the list options, and we don't need to make a new variable because we already used it and it already has the options. So now we can print out with an F string the computer chose, and then we'll just, in these brackets, you can put a variable. That's what F strings do, is if you put the F before in the brackets, you can put a variable. So we can say the computer chose, and then whatever the computer chose. Now when we run this, if I say paper, say the computer chose paper, which means that now the computer is able to choose a move. The next thing we're going to work on is deciding the result of the game. Alright, so to code the result of the game and decide who wins, we're going to start with ties because that's the easiest. So if computer equals user, then we can just print out it's a tie because both of them chose the same exact one. Now we'll say elif, and then here's where it's going to get a little bit tedious. Say computer equals rock and user equals scissors. This means that the computer beat the user, and then we have other possible cases. I'll just have a line right here so we can go to the next line and it can look easier for you guys. Then we'll say or, and then computer equals scissors and user equals paper. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll have this little slash, then go to the next line. We'll say or computer equals paper and user equals rock. And then these are all the possible cases of the computer winning. So then if any of these are true, we can print out the computer wins. So now if the user and the computer choose the same thing, it's a tie. If the computer chooses something and the user chooses something else and the computer beats the user, it'll say the computer wins. So we don't even need to check for anything else, because if it's not a win for the computer or a tie, that must mean that the user wins. So we can just print out, if neither of these are true, you win. And then that's all we need to do. So let's add some finishing touches before we run this. We can, when the user breaks out of the loop, we can just add something like thanks for playing. And then at the top, let's just print out rock, paper, scissors game. And now everything should be working. So now when we run this, rock, paper, scissors game, choose either rock, paper, or scissors. So if I choose, say, scissors, print out the computer chose scissors, so it's a tie. So now we can keep going again and again. So I choose paper, then the computer chose rock, so I win. And the nice thing is it's random, so every time you'll get a different result. This time I'll choose rock, and it's a tie. And then once we're done, press Q, and it automatically ends. That is rock, paper, scissors fully completed. Now, let's recap everything that we've done in this rock, paper, scissors project. So we start by asking the user to input either rock, paper, or scissors. And if they decide to choose Q, then we just break out and end the program. If they do not choose an input that is valid, in other words, if it's not in options list, meaning it's not rock, paper, or scissors, we go into a loop where they are required to choose either rock, paper, or scissors, and if they don't, it'll say invalid input and keep looping through. Then, once we have a valid input, we go to computer and it chooses randomly between all of the options. And then after we have a computer choice, then we check for all the possible cases of the results of the game. So it's either the computer and the user tie, or the computer wins, or the user wins. And this entire thing is in a loop, which means that it will happen every time until the user chooses Q and breaks out of the loop. Well, everyone, unfortunately, we've reached the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to comment any videos you'd like to see in the future. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.